Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a video in which I will be reviewing and swatching and comparing the new-ish Colourpop Wild Child collection. Newish because, you know, Colourpop just brings out a ton of stuff all the time. I have stopped following all of the releases and buying all the new things. It's too much. And I don't live in the US, which means that I have to pay customs and shipping, and it's just way too expensive for what it is. So I just make purchases when I love something that they bring out. And this collection really spoke to me because I like a little bit deeper makeup. And nowadays I'm very much into neutrals, as you might have gathered. So when the Wild Child collection released a few months ago, I don't even know anymore, I placed an order immediately and I bought the palette and the 3 lippy sticks. In the collection, I believe there's also blushes, but I have a lot of terracotta warm toned blushes. As you can see, my cheeks kind of go with the vibe of the collection without really having to buy the products from Colourpop themselves. So I decided to skip on those, but I really liked the idea of the palette and the lippy sticks. Now, let's start with the easy ones, and that's the lippy sticks, I feel like. There are 3 in this collection and they have different depths. They are all cream finish lippy sticks. You can see I have the lightest one, which is called Brat Pack, on my lips, and you can see there's a sheen. I don't have a gloss. They are extremely comfortable. They don't last as long as their matte ones, but it's quite inevitable, I would say, if you have such a creamy lipstick. They are 3 shades of brown, and especially with these and with the palette, I kind of have the feeling that it's a little bit more catered to darker skin tones, which kind of was necessary. So that's Brat Pack. This one here is Sassy. And these are all beautiful nudes. They have slightly different undertones and they go in a little bit deeper every time. And the last one is Oh Behave, which is a deeper brown lippy stick. They are all very beautiful, and I find that the undertones of these are quite neutral and flattering. It's not a cool toned brown, it's not too red, so it really is just shades of brown, and I love these types of lipsticks. What more can I say of these? Not much. Again, they don't last the whole day. On me, we're going a few hours, 3-4 hours maybe maximum, if I don't wear a mask, of course, which I wouldn't recommend you wear these under a mask. They're very, yeah, completely transferable. But it's a creamy lipstick. I wouldn't expect anything else. But they are some of the most comfortable ones that I own, and they're really beautiful undertones. So yeah, these are definitely something I can recommend if you're interested in the colors. I really like them. Each of these retails, I think, for the usual $7 from Colourpop, as all of their lippy sticks. I don't know if they're permanent or not because, again, too many collections, too many mixed information, don't know. Let's move on to the palette. The palette is one of their small 9-pan palettes. It comes in a plastic packaging, so it's not cardboard like the Child, for example. It's one of their more plasticky, same packaging as Going Coconuts, for example. And I think many of their monochromatic 9-pans are in this plastic packaging. The outer pack is very nice. It says Wild Child with gold foil, and in the back you have the shade names stuck on with the sticker. Now, one of the first things that you notice when you open the palette is that you have quite some sparkly shades. You have 3 mattes, 2 mattes with glitter, 2 shimmers, one that is more of a glitter and one that is more of a shimmer topper. Now on the packaging, the shade Grasslands is indicated with a little star, and you can only see it in the back. But on the website, you can see that actually the middle shade right here, Lashes, is the one that is the one not suited for the immediate eye area. And that is because this one looks and feels like a pressed glitter. It is very, very fine particles, so I actually didn't have any problems with, I don't know, either fallout or getting in my eyes. I actually really like this type of glitter right here. It adheres well. To be honest, I didn't, it performs like a glitter, but I didn't think it was a glitter until I looked on the website, and I discussed with a few of you on Instagram. The tones in here are, as I mentioned, quite deep. I today did the lightest eyeshadow look that I could with this palette. I used this in the crease, this to deepen it, inner corner, and this one in the middle of my lid, and that's it. And it's still, like, to me, this is a everyday daytime makeup, but if you're more into lighter neutrals, this is not gonna be the palette for you. The other thing is that the color story is very warm, like very warm. I expected it to be a little bit more neutral, but even with, like, let's say working with these tones down here, you still get a warm toned look. This matte down here is beautiful. It has more of a red undertone, and these have more of a neutral brown, but it's still on the warm side. As I mentioned, unfortunately, there's two mattes with glitters, and this guy on the bottom, the shade Feisty, is actually, the glitter is almost imperceptible, so you can use it as a matte, and the way I use it anyways is really to deepen out my outer corner or to do deepen my lash line, so you really don't see the glitter. In this guy right here, that's the shade Grasslands. You can see it on screen, it looks super beautiful, and I'll show you swatches in a moment in which it looks nice and shimmery. On the eye it translates to nothing, unfortunately. With my finger or with my wet brush, it just ends up being a matte with some glitter on top, and the glitter kind of disappears. This one is the fail of the palette to me. Unfortunately, I really don't like it, and it has happened the same on the Going Coconuts palette. I just don't like it. I mentioned the glitter, and the shade on top of that called Fierce. Mine came broken, and it is a beautiful, beautiful sparkly shimmer shade. It's not a glitter, it's really gorgeous. I have it on my inner corner right now, and I'll show you, again, I mentioned I show you swatches. The shade Icon down here is a regular dark shimmer. Pretty, nothing special, but I like it. I don't have a lot of these shades in my collection. At first sight, I was like, oh, did I just buy a dupe for the Natasha Denona bronze palette? So I thought today we would also take a look at comparing these two palettes next to each other. Already looking at it like this, you can see that there's not a lot of overlap, but I'll show you swatches. In the end, the vibes are very similar. So let's get into those, and then we'll discuss each and every shade individually. Let me swatch the palette first, and then we'll get into comparisons. Okay, here we go, starting from the top row. This is, as I told you, this beautiful shimmer, and the other matte. The texture of these is very soft, and some of the my favorite Colourpop matte textures. To be honest, they're very easy to use. I have an unprimed arm, by the way, so this is the second row with this beautiful traditional shimmer. This is the glitter, and you can see it has fine particles of gold, copper, more champagne. It's really gorgeous. And this is the matte with glitter, and you can see, I think you can see the glitters on it, but as I move it, then they will just flick off, and on my finger there's almost nothing left of those glitters, and I really find it such a waste of space in a palette to use such a matte with glitter. Final row, this is probably one of my favorite shades ever, this matte right here. Then we have this more neutral dark brown shimmer, and the matte with glitter that is feisty, but this is like quite dark and you can see there's almost no glitter coming off. So you can actually just count this as a matte. And these are the swatches of the palette. Okay, wiped everything off again, and we're gonna do comparisons with the bronze palette and a few of the shades in the Melt Cosmetics Rust, because I feel like there's some things that, oh hello, you can see me, and there's some things that are double here. I'll move it out of the way for a moment. The shades spotted here from Wild Child reminded me a lot of either Sundown or Beach, but neither of them are real dupes. You can see that they have a bit of a different undertone to it. And yeah, they're not exact dupes. You can achieve pretty much the same effect with all of these, of course, and they're just warm transition shades, but one is more peachy, and one is, yeah, less intense, let's say. The next shade up is Fierce, and this is this beautiful, yeah, topper shade, and actually quite flaky, but I think it's, part of it is because mine came broken, to be honest. It always makes a mess. Oh, and I just dunked my nail into a shade. And I wanted to compare it to True Bronze, which is actually the most chunky topper shade in the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette. And you can see that it is less chunky. Again, I don't know if this one in the Wild Child palette is due to the fact that it came broken. It's a bit, the Natasha Denona is a bit of a finer glitter or shimmer, sparkle, and a little bit more golden and less copper, whereas Fierce is really copper. There is also a shade in here called True Copper, but it's also not the same. It's less luminous and a bit deeper. So for this one, I to be honest, love the shade in the Wild Child palette, and would definitely like pick it over the other two. Next shade we have Ground Crew, and this is a matte warm brown terracotta type of shade, and the obvious comparison is with the shade Suntan from Natasha Denona. They're quite similar. I find that Suntan is a little bit more desaturated, whereas Ground Crew is really more full-on color, more saturation and pigmentation. Not pigmentation, just more saturation. And an obvious one to also look at is Rust by Melt Cosmetics. Oh, I should remember not to swipe so much, they're so pigmented. But Rust is a little bit more brown and a little bit less red. So those are those comparisons right there. If we go to the next line, we have Close Up, which is a shimmery warm brown, I would say. Beautiful. I don't think there's anything similar here in the Natasha Denona, but the shade Redox from, again, picking up too much, from the Melt Rust palette kind of reminds me of it, and you can see that they're actually quite close right here. They're not exact dupes, but almost as good as, I believe, on the eye. I'm gonna skip the shade Lashes because it is a glitter and there's nothing like it in my collection. Same with, or in my collection in these palettes, same with Grassland, the useless, what do you call it? The useless glitter and matte. We'll move on to Hard to Get, which is my favorite shade of, I don't know, a reddy dark brown. I love this so much. So much. I'm going to compare it to Magma by Natasha Denona. And Magma, the colors in the pans are actually quite deceiving, but it's quite similar, if not a little bit less, yeah, pigmented, a little bit more creamy of a formula, but it's again quite similar. And Mar is definitely darker, so I will actually compare that to the last shade in this palette. Next one up is Icon, which is a deep brown shimmer, as I said earlier in the swatches, and we can take a look at Ravage from Melt here. That is quite similar. It's a little bit cooler toned Ravage, but it's a similar similar shimmer, simple shimmer, but the one in the Wild Child palette is a little bit darker, warmer, sorry. The final shade here is Feisty, which is this dark brown, pretty much a matte, and then I'm gonna compare it to Mar from the Rust palette. And as you can see, they're quite similar. You wouldn't say so from the pans, would you? But when swatched, they're quite similar. The one in the Wild Child palette, Feisty, is maybe a little bit less red and more brown purple, but they're very similar. Now I realized I did my division of swatches wrong, but I hadn't prepared for this. So as you can see, there's quite a few ways to dupe this palette. What I didn't include is indeed these two shades, because I don't think there's anything similar here. But yeah, if you have bronze and rust, you definitely don't need this one. However, if you don't have bronze and rust, this could be a good warm toned eyeshadow palette. I think it's a very good candidate. It works very well, except for this dud right here. The rest, I think I can all stand behind, and I love the looks that I've created. Keep in mind that it is a dark palette, so you're gonna get dramatic looks. It's an abridged version of the bronze. Also, you have much less, let's say, texture and variation in here, but a lot of the shades in here are very minimally different, let's say. And yeah, I think that is all I wanted to tell you about this collection and this eyeshadow palette. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I will see you in my next video. Bye!